Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullah. Okay, we continue. I'm going to explain to you about chapter 10, okay, budgetary control and responsibility accounting. So at the end of this chapter, you should be able to describe the budgetary control and static budget reports, and then you need to be able to prepare the flexible budget reports. Next, you need to be able to apply responsibility accounting to cost and profit centers, and then how to evaluate performance in the investment centers. Okay, so budgetary control and static budget reports. So what is it? So use of budgets in controlling operation is known as the budgetary control. So if you use the budget, after we have prepared the budget, then we need to look at the control operations. So the control operations of your budget is known as the budgetary control. So when you have the budget reports, what do you do? So the budget reports is being used to compare your actual results with the planned results or your planned objectives. Okay, you compare your actual results and whatever that you have planned. And then after that, we provide feedback on the operations. When should you prepare the budget report? It depends as frequently as needed. And then what do? You analyze the differences or the variances between the actual and the planned results and determine the causes. So after you have your so basically budgetary control is you are looking at your whatever that you have planned, and then you look at the actual. So you compare your plan and your actual, and then you analyze the differences. If there were to be any differences or the variances, and then you need to take corrective action, right? So this is the basically the budgetary control. So you look at the budgetary control. So budgetary control is whereby you develop the budget. When you develop the budget, and then you analyze the differences between your actual and your budgeted figures. So this is where you look at your actual results compare with your budget. Okay, if there were to be any difference, then you need to take corrective action. So in this case, we need to cut production costs and increase sales. Maybe there were to be any differences. From that differences or variances, then you think of the corrective action that you need to take. Then modify your future plans. And then in the future, then you develop again your budget for the next accounting cycle or for the next accounting period. Okay, so that is how you have the budgetary control process. So the budgetary control will work best when you have a formalized reporting system. So this is to say when you identify the name of the budget report, and then you state the frequency of your report. Next, you specify the purpose of you preparing that particular budget report and who is the intended recipients or the primary recipients of that particular report. Okay. So for example, you have the sales report. So maybe the frequency is weekly. What's the purpose of you preparing that budgetary control report for sales? That is to determine whether the sales goals are met. Who's going to be the recipient? That will be the top management and maybe the sales manager. And then the next one, you will have your labor or direct labor report. So based on this one, your labor report, maybe you prepare it on a weekly basis. Why do you have that? Okay, for your labor will be for your to control your direct and indirect labor cost. So your labor, you have your direct labor and indirect labor. So you will have that. The purpose of you preparing that report is for you to know the direct and indirect labor costs. Maybe those in charge in the production department. So that means the production department managers. And all these things you can see, you can have various types of reports, and that various types of report will be used by the different by the different intended recipients or the primary recipients, and then for different purposes, and the frequency may be daily, maybe weekly, or monthly, or maybe quarterly, so depending on the reports that you are preparing. Okay, this one is just to test your understanding. So budgetary control involves all but one of the following. Does it involve modifying future plans? Yes. Does it involve analyzing differences? Yes. What about the using static budget and determining differences between actual and planned result? Yes, it is used to identify or determine the differences between your actual and planned result. So which one is not the answer, not the correct one? That is the using static budget. Okay.